Hi, Mikaela. This is Prophetic Destiny Blueprint. Underneath the video, uh, for people watching on YouTube too, um, underneath the video, you can order one of these Prophetic Destiny Blueprints, and it'll cost $150. And so I encourage you to do that. And Mikaela, I met Mikaela on like a dating site, and she really impressed me, and so much that a couple of times I've done these prophetic destiny blueprints for free, and this is my way of just loving a person for who they are. If you don't know, if you saw Mikaela's profile on this dating site, you'd realize that she's a cut above. She's extraordinarily pretty, but she's got so much in her. And and speaking to you, Mikaela, I can see a person and see what's in them. I can see not everything, like I can't tell you your whole life, things that have happened to you that are private that God would never tell me, but I can see a picture and see the person's potential. That led me to ask you if you wanted me to write 20 things, and I wrote 10 of the things, and was getting blown away that it might blow you away too much, so I sent it to you, and it didn't seem to send. And then you sent me an email, said you saw them, they were really good, and you'd like to see the next 10. Well, I'm not doing the next 10. I decided that you're such a courteous, beautiful girl that I decided I'd invest some of my time into you. Now, it's my hope, that you could be my friend, and that I could walk with you and coach you into these things. Many of the things that are mentioned in here also true of me, that I'm going to do a lot of these things. And I don't know how other prophet, I don't know if you've ever dealt with another prophet. You may have dealt with a clairvoyant, but how my prophetic gift, how my gift works is that when I do these blueprints, and there's like 23 of them on a playlist that you can look on my YouTube channel, when I do them, a lot of them, 70 or 80% of what I see for people is in me. So things that I'm going to achieve in the future, things that I'm going to do in the future, I see in other people. I suppose you're really beautiful. Like, for instance, you're a really great encourager. It just really comes naturally for you just to lift people's day. You're very observant of fashion. You're very observant of good service. You're very observant of people doing an excellent job. And if a waitress served you in a restaurant, she was very busy and she was serving you with excellence, you'd let her know that she did a great job, and you'd tip her. If you come across someone who was very encouraging, like myself, and they really encouraged you, you'd let them know. And you say you did a really good job there. And whenever you see something that's good in a person, you let them know, and you're just so encouraging. So when you meet an encourager, like I'm an extraordinary encourager, this whole spending half an hour or an hour or however long this goes, this was all my time, and I was busy for 3 or 4 hours doing paid work, getting paid to do this. And then it was my relaxation time to actually do this. And so I don't do this with any condition that you on this website, you'd be looking for men who want to, to pay for your company. And I'm sure there's many great men that would love to be with you and pay your way. I haven't got the finances to do that, so the only way we'd spend time together is, we'd go out for dinner and coffee and stuff, but I wouldn't be paying. So that might be something that you're not looking for, but I know that, I know because all of this is in me, so much of what is in your future is in my future. I know that we'd make tremendous friends, and and I'd be a very good friend / coach to you, to coach you into this. And it could be that we're so intertwined with what we're going to do. Could be that you do it, could be that I do it, could be that we partner and do it together. But you'd probably have to understand me better and question me over a coffee and ask me about everything I said here and how do you see yourself doing that, to really understand that. I know that you've got a really strong intuition, that you're very intuitive about people, and I know that you already know that I'm a beautiful person and I can be trusted, and you can feel that in your spirit. You already know that about me. And so the question would be, would you like a friend of mine? I've made it very clear, or you made it clear, that you're only looking for someone that's 40 so I'm 52, so you're safe there, and we can just travel as friends. And if anything happened in the future, that can be it. But, all great relationships come from a friendship. And I'd love to have coffee with you whenever you're free. And this could be done a lot over the phone and by email. It doesn't need to be. But I'd love to be a coach, and I'm going to be a professional coach for businesses and people in the future. And that'll be done over the internet and over Zoom and stuff. So it doesn't mean that I've got to always be with you, but I'd love to sort of micromanage this happening in your life. And because it's going to be in my life, because so much of this is me in the future, it would be good to share stories and swap stories and encourage each other. And this is a long introduction, but I say that first because you're such an extraordinary woman that it makes me nervous. The same as, I suppose, you'd love to meet Princess Diana, but you'd be nervous to actually talk to her. Maybe your dream to have met her, but there'd be a certain amount of nerves when you're actually talking to her until she made you feel comfortable and said, hey, don't worry about the nerves, I'm just a normal person. The same sort of nerves are happening to me speaking to you, because you're so extraordinary. One way to define you is, I've never been able to afford this in a bar, but maybe you have been to bars. But there's certain drinks on the top shelf, and the barman has to actually reach up to that top shelf. But they're $20 and $30 a nip for those drinks. And important, expensive business people that you're after on this site, they can afford to drink at them all night and drop $1,000 on drinks or whatever. But I was given this image by God that there's certain women that are on that top shelf that just absolutely extraordinary women, and you're one of them. And I sort of, in my future, I'm going to be extremely wealthy, and I'm going to be mixing with these sort of top shelf men and women everywhere I go. I'm going to be coaching business people in this, and meeting kings and queens and consulting them, and that's all in my future. But so you're not above me, even though you're extraordinarily beautiful and you got so much in you. You're someone to be certainly treasured, and you're this top shelf girl at the moment. So you just impressed me so much. So sorry for the long introduction, but it gives it context of what I'm going to say. I'll also say, for people watching this video and for you, that I've done prophecies, like 10-minute, 5-minute prophecies for people. To better explain a prophecy, is like a spiritual reading that a clairvoyant would do. I've done that 25,000 times. I've become very excellent at it, and very, very confident that if I say it, it's truth. And regardless of whether people accept it or understand it, what I say when I start speaking, it's absolutely can be taken to the bank. And I've got a friend called Auty, and I'd even finance you to get one of these off Auty, and he watched me do it and then started to develop the gift himself. This is something new for me. I walked for 20 years doing prophecies, and only around about the Easter weekend, I started doing these comprehensive ones. My gift went to another level. It's just like God. You do something 25,000 times, he gives you a promotion. So the first thing I'm moving into, and that point was moving into it, is you do things with a spirit of excellence. You've got this spirit, you've got this quality to you that if it's going to be done, it's going to be done right. And if it can be done perfect, my friend Auty, I had him on Zoom and we're talking about this blueprint. These are some of the things, this is one thing he saw in you. He saw this perfectionism and professionalism, and I call it excellence, the spirit of excellence. Now, two people that had that are all passed on, I've met them and they're friends of mine now. I can talk to people and visit people in heaven. One has got a bad reputation. They're calling him a pedophile and stuff, and there was no way he was a pedophile. But he did things with excellence. Was Michael Jackson. I seen an interview when he was leaving Sony. You could probably chase it up. And he said that he used to record 100 songs for every one of his albums. So let's say there's 12 songs in an album. There was 100 songs he'd lay down and professionally record, and then he'd get a vote somehow or get feedback somehow, and he'd pick the very best of those 12. So that's why when he released albums, nearly every one of the songs went high in the charts, because they weren't just 12 songs, they're the best of 100 songs. And so he did things with an extraordinarily level of excellence. And if you watch the documentary, This Is It, you'll see how he's coaching the musicians how to get things better. And he could hear it, he'd know it. He had this spirit of excellence. And if you want to study excellence, get the movie This Is It, and you'll see someone with excellence cooperating with his staff and his dancers and just being a total professional, but being able to do it a whole lot better than he's got working, so he can coach and do things in excellence. Now, there's another person I've read the book of. I sort of study this because this is in me. I do things with excellence. Another person who had extraordinary excellence was Steve Jobs, the creator of Apple. And Apple is the best products. They dominate in quality. There's more PCs in the world, but you can have a PC for 1 week and have viruses filling it and all sorts of garbage. But a Mac, I've had Macs for 10 years and I've never got a virus. They're virus-free. And why can't stupid PCs put that technology in so they can't be virus-free? So anyway, Steve Jobs was excellent, and he had a spirit of excellence, and I've met him. He went to heaven, and I've met him, I've interacted with him, and he had a spirit of excellence. Well, you've got it too. You've got this exquisite gift of excellence, and everything you do is excellent. Everything you try, and you don't get this excellence if you haven't got enough time, you're pressured or you're tired. You don't get the high level, but you're always shooting for 150%. You actually try and do things better than the standard, better than the excellent standard. You've got a whole new level of standard, and that's what you do. That's how you dress. That's how you present yourself. That's who you are. You're just this extreme, excellent person. So that's the first point. Auty got this point too. When he looked at your picture, he can see a lot of stuff in a person. And this may be hard. This one thing you can't do, probably can't do. You've got really good intuition, so you've got the basis of it. And I could coach you into my gift and get you as good as me. But Auty saw this in you, that you're full of life and joy and full of light. And I don't know if you're a Christian. I don't really mind if you're a Christian or not. You're a better Christian than most Christians, let's just say that. Auty said that you come into a room and you bring light into the room. The atmosphere of the room changes when you walk in. And I can see you in your future, because this shows me your future. I can see you being like, and this this may be too big for you, but just remember, I'm right about things, and but this might bust your caps. This might just blow you away a little bit, and I don't want you to run away when I say things, but you know, you're going to be like a Princess Diana in the world. And when you walk in a room, you already walk in a room and you change the atmosphere. People look at you. People notice you. You've got a spiritual force that you walk with. But you're a force of nature with joy and happiness. And you're so full of this light that every place you walk in, every interaction you have with a group of people or people, you bring this light and this joy and this beautifulful,ness with you, and you're just absolutely extraordinary. Yeah, so maybe I'd be a good romantic, wouldn't I? This would be a good way of romancing you if I was doing it. Okay, I'm very clear that we'll only be friends. Okay, so this isn't some sales spiel to have time with you when you want men to pay time. This isn't some poor person saying, here's the reason why you should be with me. You'll get this, and this will be amazing. And I tell you, by the time I finish it, your head will be spinning and you'll be saying, is this all true? And trust me, just trust me. I've done this 25,000 times, not this because I've only been doing this for 6 weeks, but you can look over the other 23 and see that all extraordinary things. So you just got to trust me that I know what I'm saying. And if your head's spinning, just watch this a few times on YouTube until it sings. And I really suggest, you pay Auty to do one, or I pay for Auty to do one, and he can do a half an hour one too and add other dimensions and confirm what I've said. So I don't really care how long it is. You've got the time to watch it, and it's all about you. You're the star, so you're the star in your own movie. So it'd be a pretty good, interesting movie to watch. Okay, point number 3, owner of many successful businesses. So I noticed on your profile you say you don't dream or something, you do your dreams. This is true for my life, but this isn't about me. This is about you. I'm very much like Jesus. Well, I don't know anyone closer to Jesus than me in the world. I know one person in the world that I'd like to sit down for coffee and compare, and I did a prophecy over her, and she wrote me 3 emails. She's started 10,000 churches. Everyone she prays for that's got deaf, every deaf person she prays for gets healed, and 80% of the people who are blind, when she lays hands on them, they get healed. So she does things in excellence. She's got 10,000 churches. She's feeding 30,000 people a day, and she's got 10,000 orphans. She's like my biggest hero in the Christian faith. Well, if I sat down with her face to face, like I'd like to sit down with you, it's only after the end of our stories that one of us would agree, no, you're closer to Jesus. But I hold myself in the Christian faith. I hold myself to a huge spirit of excellence. The only reason you're getting this, is because Jesus himself said, you put some time into this girl, and you don't demand her to be your friend. Don't demand. He was talking to me out in the kitchen before I did this. He said, don't tell her she has to be your friend. Don't have conditions. Just give this to her. Just bless her with this, so she finally knows what she's here for, and just leave it to her. If she wants to be friends and stay in touch, that'll be her choice. So he ordered me to do that, and he's told me to do that. And I've got tremendous love and respect for you, which you may not understand, but I've got supernatural love in me. And so owner of many successful businesses. So a good business is just an idea, and then you just put the idea out there. And when you got a bit of money flowing, you can finance anything and start anything. A couple of my businesses in the future are going to be restaurants, but you need a good bit of money for a lease and to fit out a restaurant and stuff. So they're businesses in the future that I'll have a couple of good restaurants and cafes, but I'll need serious cash to do it. So that's further relegated down the path until I've got cash. But you're going to be extraordinary business minded, and just to give you insight, because God just gave me insight on this business, you're going to start a business that will become a franchise. Yeah, Auty said there was a business that that the enemy had planned for you. It's called Satan. It's sort of his destiny for you. If I didn't talk to you, if he didn't turn you away from this, but he said Satan, the enemy, had you planned to start an escort agency and run a professional escort agency. And basically running this site, running this website is like running a professional escort agency. So many of the girls here are acting like professional escorts, which is no fear. You know, women want to earn money for their time and influence. You expect powerful men to pay for your time, and you really are worth the time, and you really are worth the money. So he doesn't want you running an escort agency, but I can see one of the businesses, and I've said this to another girl, I see it myself. I can see us setting up a site like this, or you setting up this site. I don't care who does it, me, you, someone else, as long as it gets done. Set up a site like this, that the only way you can get into this website is you've got a written, documented, letter-headed letter from an accountant saying this guy's worth 1.5 million. These are his companies. And when they apply to the website, they've got to send that through as an email document, and then they get a phone call from the website, so it's not all automated. They get a phone call from actual staff on the website saying, you're such and such accountant, this is your cell number. Yeah, or they call cell number in America, I use American words because all my effort goes to America. So we use mobile phones. So it's got their mobile phone number. You ring up the accountant, the chief accountant for this company, the person's personal accountant. You say, this is John Smith. Yeah, you're an accountant. Yeah, you're accountant for such and such. Yes, why are you asking? We've got a letter from you dated such and such that says he's worth 1.5 million. Is this true? Yes, thanks very much. He said it was for this website. He's just got confirmed. You can tell him if you talk to him, but we'll approve this now. So no one will get in this site that we build. No one will get in unless they're extremely wealthy, unless they're really hitting goals in business. And the other way for the females, I haven't worked it out yet, but the other way is the girls they're just not going to have a body. They're just not selling their body and no profile. They're going to be heavy hitters. They've got to be heavy hitters like you that can equip and stand beside and work and help and assist and not just be a beautiful body, but be someone extraordinary that these billionaires and millionaires and powerful men would love to be their new wife or love to be their partner. There's going to be no, you can't control it, but I hope there's no sexual immorality and adultery and all sort of stuff. I hope it's not a pickup joint for the millionaires and the billionaires, but they'll be able to find extraordinary women. And if you're an extraordinary woman like that, you won't be answering 80 emails for every guy that's got some wealth. You'll only be hearing from powerful men, and you'll have an extensive profile, and they'll be able to sort out just who you are. So I've been studying dating websites for 25 years, and I've seen the best, and one day I'll build the best. Now, this would be like one of the businesses you start. I can see you starting a business that'll be a major franchise. I don't know what that's going to be in food or something. So that's one of them. I can't see everything here. The more I know you and talk to you, the more I'll see. Now, this is the next point is great wealth. You'll be a power player, and you'll be directing lots of money around the place, and you'll have heaps of wealth. Auty saw this too, my friend, and you can have his email address in the description tag here. And if you're watching this and you're not ordering a blueprint, you really need to order one of these. Not every girl is going to be like this. Not every person I do a blueprint is going to be like this. This is one of the most gifted, power-packed women I've ever seen in my life. Absolutely extraordinary, to the point where it almost intimidates me, but she's not an intimidating person. She'd really put me at ease. She'd be Princess Diana. Within 5 minutes of being with her, I'd be settled down. My heart would not be moving. So now, this has been prophesied over me. Auty seen this to you. So nearly every point I said here or he said, we had like double confirmation. But I really encourage you, when you get this, to write to him and ask him for one, even if you don't get in touch with me, and see what he says. But when he prophesied this over me, he said he sees at least billionaire on me. I sort of, I don't care what people say about Donald Trump. Donald, I've always had a problem with wealth, and I'd be a person that would have $1 million ideas and give them to people for free, just like this dating agency that I was talking about. When God was working on me with my low self-esteem and stuff, when God was working on me on becoming extremely wealthy, he said this: the only reason Donald's in power is because he had 10 billion and he can just drop 120 million on his own campaign, and that was pocket change. You got to be. God told me that I'm going to be so wealthy that I see something in the future. There'll be a technology in the future, and I'll have $10 billion in assets, and the technology is going to cost $5 billion. It would be involved in satellites and all sorts of stuff, and I'll just make a decision, and within a couple of months, I'll be liquidating all my buildings and stuff, and putting this $5 billion in this technology. When this technology comes in the world, the Illuminati and the power brokers and all the witchcraft and stuff, people who run this world will be seriously displaced by my technology. It'll just take their power bases and their money out, and they won't be allowed the technology. And I'll have prophets that can tell who's applying for it, and they'll just totally be refused. You have a cutting edge. It's like having Apple products and not being able to have access to Apple product. So that was God talking about me, and you're going to be in the same category. This be too much for you, but you're not going to be in the millionaire, multi-millionaire, 20 million, 50 million. The person you're partnering with is going to be someone like me in my future in 20 years' time. Going to be like a serious heavy hitter billionaire, but this great wealth that you're going to have, even as a single woman, you can get that. You've got this in you. This is all talking about you. This isn't talking about me. This isn't talking about your husband, your future husband. This isn't talking about him. This is all about what you're going to do, right? So I want to make that very clear. You're not going to just latch onto a rich guy and you're going to do this together. No, these are things you're going to do. Now, the next point is world traveling, consulting powerful leaders. So I won't spend too much time on this, but you're going to consult and give advice and rub shoulders with some of the most powerful CEOs and leaders, government leaders, government officials, presidents, prime ministers, kings, and you're going to have some extraordinary dresses, and you're going to go to all those red balls and extraordinary things. From time to time, you won't have a lot of time. You're so busy. But from time to time, you'll be at these balls and you'll be mixing with the very top echelons of the world. And so, yeah, if that doesn't spin you out a little bit, I can see you've got a lot in you. You've got big dreams. That little tagline, whatever it is on the dating agency, is amazing. Anyway. And once again, I have to say, you're extraordinarily looking, but this is worth so much more to you than what you look like. You've heard, like I said in my first email, you've heard plenty of people tell you that you look beautiful, but I don't think anyone's ever told you something like this. So you're going to have great inventions, imparting technology and changing the world. Now, Isaiah 60, if you look it up, you can stop the video here, rewind it a bit. Isaiah 60, Isaiah chapter 60. Type in the online Bible on your computer and type in Isaiah 60 and read it. That prophecy is about certain people in the world, and it's about you. That was written in the Bible for people like you and me. And it says that the wealth of nations will be poured out to you. Now, what's going to happen as you rise up and you become very powerful, very known, the very inventors, creators, are going to set up like a Shark Tank. If you know the show, you're going to set up this angel finance company where you're going to have so much money that the inventors and the creators of the world are going to be encouraged to present their technologies, their designs, their ideas to you. And you're going to back them, finance them, and be in partnership with them. And so some of these great inventions and great technologies that are due to come to the world will come to you. The people will come to you, and you'll back them and finance them and roll it out, right? And this is where, for me, the same thing will be happening. So much of this is me too. But this is where that $5 billion technology will come from. It might not be my idea, but someone will approach me with that idea, and then bang, that'll be it. Right. So Steve Jobs is up in heaven. He's creating technologies, and designers and people on the earth are getting ideas. But as Steve and his 100 developers that he runs in heaven, it's their ideas, and they're just dropping the ideas down to the people that can get them done. So all these ideas are going to be streaming down from heaven. The people getting the ideas will come to us or come to you. It's going to be us. So, it's either you or me, or you and me, or in companies together. But they're going to be coming to people like us, and we're going to be financing it. Auty, see you working in fashion. I don't know if you're a fashion designer. I didn't really get that clear from him, but he says he saw models and people trying on clothing, and you are going with. He saw you because he had your picture. He saw you walking into department stores and walking into fashion labels and picking things off the racks and having models behind you that you're taking through to do shows and stuff. So it seems that you mightn't be the fashion designer yourself, but you'll manage fashion in some way and work closely with a lot of models. Auty said he doesn't know if you will be a model, but you certainly could fulfill that role in what you're doing. So I don't have a lot about that. Some of these things I don't have a lot on, but I've got a few pages here, so I'll just keep on rushing through. These are all things that, if we're together at a cafe, I like cafes because they're cheap, but you can take me to a restaurant and pay if you like. This is the thing that we get this video up on your phone, and we play it and stop it if you can stop it. We stop it at each point and then have a big discussion. This could go on for hours and hours, and Auty calls this unpacking. It's like most people who get these can't really understand it that much. It needs further revelation, and I can give it to you. So I don't know that fashion one a lot about that, but the next point is consultant in business, and you're a business coach. So you'll be able to coach people, how to improve their businesses in every facet and every dimension. And one of the ways you become a good coach is you do it first. You start a product, you market a product, you advertise a product, you build a product, you build a brand, you market a brand, you brand a brand, you grow your brand, you dominate with your brand. When you've done that a few times, you're very good at business and very good at doing all those things. Then you can start to coach businesses and teach other businesses how to do things in excellence. And the YouTubers, Facebook is full of people selling how to market and how to do this and all their perfect programs and stuff. And you get to coach business when you're doing business with excellence. And people sort of take notice when a couple of the brands that you run like are dominating in the world, and they really come to you because they want the expert help themselves. So I'm going to gloss over some of these. Believe me, I can talk, and I think you can really talk too. And you really enjoy listening, which is a great skill to be able to listen to a person, ask them questions, and have a person talk for hours. And, you know, when you're talking to someone for hours and then the person's really engaged in asking you questions, it's one of the best feelings that you can have in the world, to actually have someone see you and listen to you. The same as you're a good listener, you can talk. And, you know, I'm sure if we played this video, you know, I want to meet you so much, you know, I'll pay you $200 just to meet with you and explain this to you. You know, if you really need money, you know, you name the price and I'll come in. But I don't want to come and do it just to meet you. I want to spend the time to unpack this and discuss it with you, because you're going to do it. I don't want to see you run away from this. You know, you're bigger than this. About 15 of the 23 people that I've done this for ran away. They couldn't handle it. But I don't want that to be you. And if you need me to pay $200 for your time, I respect that. You're an awesome woman, and I'll get that money and I'll pay it. So I'll even pay my own way. But if I'm going to pay $200 to meet you, you got to pay for the meal or the coffee and the cake, whatever. You can go cheap and $25, and I'll give you $200. You spend $25, whatever. I really feel that you need. Even easier if you had Zoom. Skype, actually, Auty does. If you come here and we talk to Skype, it'd be best if we get another seat here and we talk to Auty live, and we all discuss this together over a couple of hours, and then recorded that, because anything, you can record on Skype, but I can teach Auty to do Zoom and record it. So that would be the best option, rather than being out for dinner. To have his input, and he's extraordinary. And so the next point I'll like to talk, then traveling the world, bringing solutions to poverty, to Africa and third world nations. So I can see me and Auty are going to travel the world and preach, and then we're going to teach on prophecy and teach on the gifts of the Spirit, which if you're not a Christian, like the powerful arm of God, we're going to teach on that. But we're also going to be equipping nations with technologies and stuff that can help them. So we'll go into a village and they haven't got a well, they haven't got a pump, and so rather than traveling miles and miles carrying water, we'll put one of those wells in their place. And be all sort of. I just saw a person presented at our church that had this technology that you can have in a drum, and it can grow 90 seedlings, 90 plants, and just in this 44-gallon drum. And it's an amazing technology, which normally they'd have to have a lot of land, but land is money, and a lot of people haven't got a lot of money, so they can't grow all their vegetables and stuff. And in one of these things, it can be done. And that each of these barrels cost $60, and you could just roll out thousands and thousands of them. Well, there's heaps of people with that sort of technology that can totally transform countries. And so you're going to be doing that. You're going to be spending this. There's not going to be a lot of profit in these third world nations. You're going to be going and investing millions and millions of dollars in improving their lifestyle, instead of the West raping the East for their products and services and their labour. Instead of raping, we're going to be coming back and giving. We're going to be, I say we because this is so aligned, but because both of us are going to be doing it individually or together as friends and stuff. We're going to be raping the West for their money and the products and the businesses and everything we do. We're going to be taking that money and sowing it into the East. And I think that really turns you on, because you really, not in a sexual way, but really turns who the core of you is, because you're about love, you're all about giving. You're not about money. You're about success and doing great things, but nothing's money to you. And right. So Auty said he saw charisma and talent in the highest levels, and will be received by the rich and powerful, and will hold yourself, and I added, like a real princess. So it's in the future. You're only young, 29, so you know, you got 20 years and you're 49. You're still pretty young. But let's say in 10 years, I don't know how long. Some of these things are 20 and 30 years time. These things are going to be happening. But you've got this charisma and talent, he said now. And you've got this talent in the highest levels, like this extraordinary spirit of excellence on you. And in the future, you're going to be received by the rich and powerful. And in the world's eyes, you're going to be like a princess. The world is going to look at you and revere you like Prince Harry and his wife. Okay, her own show, interviewing very powerful and successful people on like an Oprah Winfrey show. You're going to do like a weekly program. Can't be daily because you'll be too busy, but you can be doing a weekly program with the very best heavy hitters in the world. Are going to be not just actors and actresses, but really powerful people. You're going to be sitting down with real questions compiled by you. You've spent the time to read their autobiography. You know all about them, or you know heaps about them. You followed them for years, or you guess for people you be highly admire. You reach out to them, they'll come to your show, and you'll do this extraordinary 1 hour interview with them that only comes from a lot of love, a lot of respect, a lot of rapport, and a lot of knowledge. And this is going to be a standout, extraordinary show, and lots of people are going to be tuning in to see that show. And that's something I'm not doing. That's all your game, hey? Chameleon, Auty said, you really need to write to Auty's email address. You know, if we don't get together and we don't talk, you really need to write to Auty, to his email address, and say, thank you for all your stuff. And he'd really appreciate it. He's going to be watching this video. He said he's looking forward to watching it. And he will have already seen what I said. So he'll have a bit of history on you already. You're spreading, your reputation is spreading. And my followers on YouTube will be saying, oh, what a champion. So if they found out that we're friends and we're working together, you know, they'll be excited. And once again, you don't owe me anything. I'm not even sure this link is going to go through on this stupid dating site. Sometimes things don't go through. But Auty said you're a chameleon. You can blend in and out of places as she needs to. And this isn't about dishonesty. This isn't about putting on faces. This isn't about being different. It just means that you're adaptable and you can move like a chameleon. Depending on the colour behind it, changes to that colour. You can change and come in and out. You can spend time on the streets at the homeless in the city, and you could interact with the homeless. And then you could put on a nice dress and go to the ballet, or go to the opera, or go to some Red Bull event, black tie event, and be extraordinary. You could be with the richest of the richest and the poorest of the poorest. And if you sat in a taxi, you'd probably cut tube on you, but if you sat in a taxi, the taxi driver would have such a fun time talking to you, because you're just all about people. You're just so much like me. You just extraordinary, love people. People really turn you on, and it doesn't matter who the person is. You know, they've all got a story, and you want to hear their story. So I feel that you're a very good talker. You love to talk. You certainly love someone to engage you and question you. This would be a really good conversation. I think we should have the conversation here and have like a three-way conversation with Auty, and ask him questions, him ask us questions, with dialogue. So you'd have to trust yourself to come to my place. Or if you had Skype, we could do this in a cafe too, with whatever off a phone. You know, we could do Skype, so it could be in a cafe. You didn't have to be at my place, as long as we can have Auty on Skype. So this is something Auty can teach you, or another person can teach you, but you'll be an emotional and spiritual healer. A lot of this, could use a prophet's gift like mine. Would be really useful if you're a Christian, because all that will come through. But I can see you doing all this just being a beautiful person, not necessarily a Christian. But this one, you'd need to be a Christian and be able to deal with spiritual things to be able to do this one. So I see in one time in the future you'll have such um, I don't know how it'll happen, but I saw this. You'll be an emotional, spiritual healer, and Auty agreed with that. And Auty can coach you because that's what he does. So he can train you how to do it and take you to classes, take you to events that he's doing for other people, and you can sit in and watch and help and learn and become that. So I'm supposed to do that in the future too, but I'm sort of a bit scared of it. So we said this one before, you'll be a business and corporation coach. I forgot when I wrote this that I said that before. You have deep compassion and love, and you'll have a life documented by love and not for money. So God will give you money. So Solomon, I don't know if you know the story, in the Old Testament, the second king of Israel, the third king of Israel, and they descended in generations. The second king of Israel had a son called Solomon. He wrote the book of Proverbs in the Bible, all these wise sayings. Well, he was asked by God, what does he want? Had a relationship with God, like me, that you can actually hear from God. He was asked by God, what does he want? He said, I want the wisdom to be able to manage my people, and the people were his people. The Queen of England doesn't really treat Australia and England as her people as much as these kings did. And the Queen of England has prime ministers to run the country, but even prime ministers don't really give a flying shit about us. But he did, and he wanted to manage his people with excellence. So he said, can he have the wisdom to be able to manage his people? Because he asked for wisdom, and that was a non-selfish thing, God poured out wealth on him. If the gold that Solomon owned was in today's money, he'd be the richest man today. Right? No one has exceeded him in wisdom or wealth. And so my point for saying all that background is that because you've got love and compassion, because you want to change the world and love the world, because you want to heal the world like Michael Jackson's song, you want to heal the world, because your drive is to better love and better equip and better change and better bless and bring all the crying and suffering and make a bloody end to it, because you're so powerfully driven about your love for humanity, because you're so full of love and compassion, God's going to give you all the wealth. He's going to, money's really handy. So he's going to pour so much wealth on you that you can achieve everything you want to achieve. So the next point is very open and cannot hide your feelings at any time. I went through those 10 points that I sent you, and that's one I picked out. I have to say, it's not because you're dishonest. Same as this chameleon thing, it's not because you're dishonest. It's just that's how you are. You just can't hide your feelings. If someone's really injured you and done some real damage and they're really evil, like, you forgive everyone, really. But if there's a person that you really don't like and you're really uncomfortable with, when you meet them, they'll know it. And same as me. I'm very excited doing this for you, and I don't hide my feelings. I'm very excited, and I would love to spend time with you. And if you wanted $200 for a couple of hours every time we meet up, I'd get God to supply. Every time I do one of these for another person, I get $150. So God can give me one of these to do for someone. I'll have fun for half an hour doing it, and then get $150 and give it to you for your time. So you can be, if you like, I can pay my way to spend time with you. Certainly open to that, and certainly God's open to that. So I don't have to have a free reign with you, but I challenge any of the men you meet, to be able to have the spiritual counsel and the spiritual insight from God, to be able to direct you like me and like them. Yeah. Very open, cannot hide your emotions. Same as when you're in the company of someone you really admire and love, they know it. You know, they can tell, right? So the last point I got, and believe me, I could get another 20 points too, that you're an encourager. And one good gift I've got is prophetic evangelism. If we're walking around as friends and spent time going through places and shopping and restaurants and stuff, if we're spending time together, you'll notice I stop from time to time and actually give someone a message from God to encourage them. And I can see you developing this gift of prophecy, being tutored by me, or tutored. God can tutor you. You don't need me. And reaching a point where every, 1 or 2 times when you're out for an hour at the shopping or whatever, that from time to time God will show you someone and say, go and tell them this, and whatever you go and tell them will really encourage them. They really need to hear it. So I hope that blessed you. I pray that the message actually goes through in the system, and I think it will because I spent the time to do it. And I hope you're encouraged. Please write to me on the system or contact me. I'll put my phone number on there, and you can send me a text or you can ring me. Please give me feedback. I'm not asking anything of you. I don't have to be with you. I don't have to coach you into this. You get this written out and printed out, and you work towards this, and this is only half of what you're going to do. You're going to do many more things. But if you like, we can meet in a cafe, and on your phone or on this computer, we can take this computer and have Skype and connect with Auty and go through this. If you got this typed up, or I can just bring these notes and we can work up the notes. Then we can have like a 3-way. That's normally a sexual term, but I'm not sick, but then we can have like a 3-way conversations, me, you, and Auty. And Auty sees you, he saw you, he thinks you're extraordinary. He agrees with me. He would love to put time into you and invest time into you. I'd love to invest time into you. And like I said, if I've got to pay $200 to meet you for a couple of hours, God's my supplier. That's where I get my money from. In the last week, I gave $1,000 to different people as God led me. The same as God led me to do this, I invested my time. Please, one thing I will say, and I'll close off and I won't bore you. Please don't throw this away. Please don't reject this and say this is crazy. I think you're intuitive enough to know that this is real and this is true. And I think some of these things really spoke to deep places in you. And you may even known a lot of this already intuitively. Please receive it, write back to me and say it's a good job. And let me know if you want to meet up. And there's, constantly, in the last 8 weeks, my mother, father, sister, brother, brothers, and another girlfriend left. And I sort of really like when I said this prophecy, the initial message. I said I got a girlfriend, but I really can't just settle. There's someone developing, but she really isn't going to hit all the bases like someone like you. And you can't just have a normal wife. And so even though I like this girl, it doesn't seem as though it's going to be it, because I need someone next to me who can partner me all the way to being a billionaire. Like, people hate Trump, and I don't know what you think of Trump, but don't hold it against me. But Melania is just a class. She's just classy, and she's a great encourager to Donald. And you know, that's what you're going to be to some man in the future. You're going to be classy and you're going to do all these things yourself. You meet a guy and you become serious and you're really serious with him and getting you serious. I hope that you take him to this video on YouTube and say, well, this is what I'm doing. Can you help me with this? And any man would love to help you with that. So pray that this will really encourage you. Pray that you get it tonight, it makes you night. And feel free to contact me via email. You can see in my on my website in the link in the description tag underneath. Got to press the thing see more. And this is the sort of thing that you could tell your friends. You know, you got good friends that are heavy hitters like yourself. By heavy hitters, I don't mean overweight. I mean it's going to kick some major goals in life. So you got successful friends. Get them to order one of these, but I sort of need warning that they're not a Christian, and I'm not sure if you're Christian. I can know so much, but I don't know that. But I think you're very open to the Christian faith. You just haven't seen many examples, if you're a Christian, of people doing it with excellence. But if your friends write to me and order one, get them to tell me in the PayPal or with an email that I'm not a Christian, but please do one for me. And that just lets me, if I was doing this for you and I knew you were a Christian, there'd be all Christianese language in it, like slang terms. But because I didn't know you're a Christian, there's none of that. And it would be really handy if you became a prophet and a Christian. It could help so much more with where you're going. But that's not something that I feel that God requires of you. So God bless, and hope this brightens up your weekend. See you.